Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Industry Matters podcast presented by VGM. Each episode, we feature conversations with leaders, innovators, advocates, and everyday people who are working to strengthen patient care, support business operations, and shape a sustainable future for the DME-POS, CRT, home access, and broader home healthcare space. At VGM, we believe that knowledge moves the industry forward. Our goal is to give you real insights you can use, whether that's navigating industry challenges, improving patient care, or strengthening your business.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. My name is Ted Metcalf. I'm Vice President of Clinical Mobility and Accessibility for VGM. And today's episode on Industry Matters for this complex rehab technology space, I've got our distinguished guest, Cody Verrett. He's Vice President of Sales with Permobil Americas. And Cody, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
I'll be happy to. Thanks, Ted. Thanks for inviting me. It's good to be here. I'm Cody Verrett, and I'm Vice President of Sales at Permobil Americas. And I've been with the company now, so about 4.5 years. I came here in the summer of 2021, but I've been in the industry, as you know, Ted, almost 30 years now. I'm on my 28th year in the business, from different levels of being a provider in the late 90s in the Baltimore, Washington market, to a number of different, stays along the way and opportunities in my career. One of those being with Pride and Quantum. I was with ATG for a little while before we rolled things up and became New Motion when we merged with United Seating and Mobility. I got an opportunity after that to join ShopRider and create a new platform and complex rehab division for them called Rovi, which has now been out in the market for 10 years, believe it or not. That's dating myself there. But after that, got an opportunity with the Motion Composites, an ultralight manual wheelchair manufacturer out of Quebec. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to find a way to work with Biodynamics in New York City and retain a role within Rovi for another couple of years. But then I finally got the opportunity to come to Permobil in the summer of 2021. So excited to be here and really excited about what we did with the Next Gen Ty-Lite initiative, which was creating a new factory and some new products under the Ty-Lite portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Cody, for that intro. And yes, you and I go way back. We spent some time together at certain manufacturers, and we've had the opportunity to get experience at the provider level and seeing the pains and challenges that I think providers and members of US Rehab have to go through to move product through the system and to reach high clinical outcomes and high patient outcomes. And it's been a journey, and I think this industry, kind of as a drawback from your experience, the industry is changing, and it's changing quickly, and it's moving fast, and technology is immutable. It's going to happen. It's going to continue to face our industry, and we're going to continue to see change. And I know that we're going to spend some time today talking about that. I think what you guys have done at Permobil has just been absolutely incredible and moving things along. So yeah, part of this, Cody, is, we want to give our members an opportunity to kind of think through what the future looks like, where are the challenges and where are the strengths and what are the things that they need to be investing in their business to win business, right? To have high clinical outcomes, like I said before, Cody. So one of the things that I've had the opportunity and spend some time in the great state of Tennessee and work with you, Cody, and work with your team and your people is seeing the investments that you guys have been doing in the business. And I'm not talking just about manufacturing per se, but talking about, the speed, the velocity. Can you just talk a little bit about what Permobil has done, and let's just say the last 18 months to, help providers be successful in managing their business and moving product through the system for them and for their patients a little bit?
Yeah, I'd be happy to, and maybe we can even play around with sharing my screen. One of the big initiatives when I came to Permobil in the summer of 21 was to just completely change and have a step level change to the manufacturing, ordering experience and distribution of ultralight manual wheelchairs. Two of those products that we introduced are the Ty-Lite Z and the Ty-Lite X, both reimbursement dependent, ideally funded solutions in that aluminum ultralight space. But not only did we change the products and make them better with new features, but we also relocated the production facility, right? They always say one of the challenges, right, is location, and that makes it challenging. Now, Ty-Lite in Pasco has been a beacon of ultralight manual wheelchair users and products for the last almost 30 years. I think in their 26th or 27th year in business. But one of their challenges is their location. To get something from Pasco, Washington to Miami or to Boston, for example, just by travel alone can be up to a week. So we took a real hard look at that and realized that if we manufactured in Tennessee, that we could reach 85% or so of the country in just 2 days shipping. So that was the first big investment that Permobil made, was not only were we going to re-up these products and bring these 2 new chairs to market, we were going to do it in a new production facility that's state of the art in Nashville, Tennessee, where we deployed robotic welding, automated powder coating process, a number of other features, CNC machining, a number of other really interesting technologies that help us speed the process of developing and taking a manual wheelchair from quote to order through to the production facility in as short amount of time as possible. But one of the biggest breakthroughs for us, Ted, was the introduction of the Permobil Store. And that was another piece to this puzzle that, if you can imagine, having been an ATP in this industry now for a long time, since 2006, but having been a provider in the 90s, one of the biggest challenges of an ATP is getting a quote. Because you oftentimes, especially in ultralight manual wheelchairs and other products where there's lots of variable accessories and options that will and won't work with other features that you've added to the chair, ordering and getting quotes back can be a time-consuming process with the back and forth at times with customer experience. So we really wanted to create something that really changed the game. And I'm going to try and share my screen for a second, if that's okay. So what this basically does, now this is an order that I've already spec'd out, but essentially, it's essentially an order form, right? So I've selected the Tylite Z aluminum, a rigid frame chair, and you see as I scroll down through here, things are checked and selected. My choice of color is silver streak. But as you notice, I had this open, and this gives you a 3D image of the chair in real time. So it's one that I can spin around, I can look at, I can zoom in and really show the detail to the client. This is something you can do remote. You could do this at the evaluation. You could do this in real time with the client reviewing the chair. Unlike showing somebody literature, I can show you a real product in real time. And based on the specs that we've laid out on this chair, we know that it's 25.3 inches wide, a hand rim to hand rim, and it's about 35 inches long. And I get a chance to really spin this chair around and get a good look at all the features and accessories that I've outfitted this chair with. And I'm going to zoom in because you want to see this is basically a military patch on the back that we have as an option. And you know, there's a lot of features to this, but the point of sharing this with you is that we really want to be able to give our ATPs the ability to see what their chair configures. As I scroll down, you'll see I've picked 16 wide, 18 deep, and it's X'd out these other options. Like you can't pick a 16 wide and be 12 deep or 13 deep, for example. And this is all done in real time. This shows me my custom frame depth, and all of these being blocked out basically gives me guidance along the way to say, oh, with rear seat to floor height ranges, these are the wheel options that get me to the certain choices based on what I need for my client. And the whole point is just trying to create a faster experience for the ATP so that they can spec this chair out, share it with the client in real time, being able to say, you know, do you like the way this looks? Okay, this is pretty great. Or if the client said, oh, I really want to see it in acid green, for example. Well, we could make that change. And in relatively easy time, we can just change the color of that chair and give that client a visible look at what this looks like and what it'll be like for them in their home. Or when they get the chair, they get a real clean look at what this would be like, an acid green with red accents. You know, it might seem like a simple thing, but you know as well as I do, Ted, lots of clients, the choice of color and some of the aesthetic features are one of the main choices that they get in the process. So being able to give them that power is something really important to us and really increases client satisfaction. And ultimately really getting that buy-in with the client at the evaluation, long before the chair's been authorized and approved, to be able to say, this is what the chair is going to look like. Here's what it looks like with a comfort curve back. We can put aftermarket back products on here, but really being able to get to the very end of this, Ted, and being able to hit quote and know that what I've selected is buildable. So as an ATP, I get to set it and forget it, right? I get to move on with my day. I've completed the specs for this chair, and I've sent right off to my clinician partner a full list of the chair's features as well as all the codes, so they can go through their justification and letter writing process to mirror up for this client and for this chair. And it can all start right there as I'm leaving the evaluation. And that's something we called really capturing the magic of the evaluation and this end-to-end connection for our customers and for the ATPs through the process, so they can step away and know that this chair is buildable, and that when the authorization comes through and it's approved, that they can get that chair for that client in a relatively short order of time. Now I'm going to change this backrest that's on this chair right now to a Comfort Unite, just to show you what it looks like and how it just, basically will position itself on the chair in such a way that you have a visible representation of it for the client. And it's these kind of little features that really create that buy-in for the client, so that they're happy. They've decided, yes, this is the design and the features that I wanted, and this is the way I wanted this to look. And the visible aspect of it, but also the ability to immediately have that client know what that chair is going to look like, the features it's going to have, and that the letter and the documentation process can start right away. And that you've really captured the magic of the evaluation, and that everybody leaves that evaluation feeling comfortable about the product, the consumer feels good, the clinician feels great, and you as an ATP can move on with your day knowing that this is now going to be in the quoted bucket, and that's off of your plate from a workload standpoint.
Yeah, this looks really clean, Cody. Very impressive. You and I, we were talking about our history and working for providers. And of course, we work with U.S. Rehab members across the nation. Nothing frustrates a business owner or an ATP manager when you've got to do a rework, right? Because rework costs money, it's time, it slows down the system. Just roughly from what you're hearing from your Permobil customers, what has been the feedback, number one, and I guess maybe number two, reduction of errors, right? That's got to be coming down incredibly low. It's almost foolproof, right? I mean, what are you hearing from the customers?
Well, the feedback we're getting from customers is that it definitely saves them rework and at what they might call an after sale, right? And I had one example of that right after we launched in October of 2024. It was like 18 months, basically exactly what you asked. And when we launched in the fall of 24, I had an ATP pull me aside and say, "Oh my gosh, the store saved my hide." And I was like, "Tell me what happened." He said, "I was going to spec out this chair, and the position of the wheels and the hand rims, we had them in standard position, and we checked the measurement and recognized that was going to be a problem for this client, and that the natural fit hand rim product that they wanted based on their width could not fit through their doors that they needed." So this at least gave them the ability to make a change to that before it went through the authorization process, update the client so they knew in advance, and everybody had that information, which they may not have had or not have had as easily as you saw in the configurator, where you could just basically click toggle measurements and see what that overall width was going to be. Because as soon as you add camber, and the width of the chair, the person's seat width, you get into all sorts of different variables, especially when you start adding in different types of hand rims and different tires and treads. And there's a lot of factors that go into ultralight chairs. And this was one area where we were able to deploy a technology that would really save ATP's time and of course, business owners money.
That's impressive. I love the lime green or the acid green, but yeah, the green was nice. I love the colors, but yeah, I from what we're hearing from our members is yes, it eval to delivery is a time, it's a KPI, it's a measure of KPI and business improvement. If we can reduce eval to delivery by utilizing technology and workflow processes, efficiencies to get a chair out quicker, faster, right? You're only as fast as the person in front of you, but if you guys can help the members be successful in the configurator and get the chair to spec according to, clinical diagnoses and, what measurements, et cetera, then they're moving that much more faster in the system. I know you guys are pushing out and getting the product out, incredibly fast, which is incredible. And I love the 2 to 3 day time frame coming out of Tennessee. I mean, that's amazing on a customized manual chair.
Yeah, well, and to be honest with you, Ted, we had our challenges. We launched with trying to be the best in the space with a 5-day lead time at go live, in which we held pretty strong for a good solid 6 or 8 months. But like many businesses, we had some challenges. We had some key individuals exit and some other personnel challenges that made it tough for us to keep the lead times under control. And of course, we saw a lot of influx of orders. So we really stubbed our toe back in the summer and came up short and really let customers down. So it's important for me to share that we've gotten that back under control. Our lead times are way under 5 days currently. Basically out of Nashville, a Tylite X or Tylite Z are running on about a 3 to 3.5 day lead time from the time of order. So we set the bar high and we shot hard to get it, and we had our challenges, but we've come out of that and feel really good about the team and the whole operational supply in Nashville, because that was one piece that we were unfortunately had let some folks down on. So, but we're back in place now, and we have really good production lead times at current. And this has led to even lower lead times in Pasco. So our high-end, fully customizable titanium chairs are turning around in like 10 days right now too. So you can get a fully customized titanium product from our production facility in Pasco for your user in 10 days, which we're really proud of. And we just introduced this week a brand new TR and ZR product line, which are new models that have come out. We've reduced the weight and a couple other really great features. So Tylite keeps pushing the envelope forward. We introduced the CR1 about 3 years ago. Next Gen came on the back of that, and then we just introduced the TR-ZR, which are brand new models that are coming out of our Pasco facility in titanium and titanium adjustable. So
Just looking in the future, Cody, I mean, what is next level? I mean, what's next level for the configurator and Permobil across Americas, right? And even into Europe. I mean, do you have a vision of every single ATP out there utilizing this type of technology all the time for all products across your entire portfolio of what you guys offer at Permobil?
yeah, that's a really great question, Ted. I think there's a lot of old dogs like yourself and myself, folks that have been around the industry a long time, and it's tough to get people to change. But we also see a lot of new ATPs coming into the industry that are adopting this technology very quickly and finding it to be a tremendous resource. So we keep trying to show and share with our, legacy ATPs in the field what a benefit this can be. But we certainly understand, the resistance. So we just try and meet them where they are. So, but our goal is to continue to put products into the store. We're going to continue to build it out. We just recently introduced Power last fall, and we just introduced Rojo just earlier this last month, actually in the middle of February. That was something that happened. We introduced Rojo to the store. So our goal is to continue to fill out the store with Permobil products and solutions that really meet our customers where they are. And we're trying to be as fast and as efficient as possible. When we talk about the digital handshake, when that quote happens, if it happens in the store, captures the magic of the evaluation, that is basically frozen in time until we get the authorization. And when we get the authorization and the PO from the provider, it immediately kickstarts the production cycle and it heads right to the floor. So we really are trying to be as expeditious as possible on every piece of the puzzle that we're involved with. Wherever we're touching the process, we want to be as quick and as efficient as we can to really help our providers and help consumers get the products that they're looking for as quickly as possible.
Sure. What's as you talk about the process when the customer goes through and orders, what's the feedback loop? Hey, your product is 8 days away, 5 days away, 4 days away from production. In other words, what communication goes back to the customer on their product that they have in the system?
Yeah, so once they've issued the PO, we turn that around and send them their order confirmation, which has an estimated ship date or ESD, which gives them a ballpark window of when we expect the chair to ship, estimated ship date. What we would like to get to someday is estimated time of arrival, right? We would like to get to a place where we're predicting the arrival into your dock with great accuracy. We know that providers want to be able to schedule deliveries almost as soon as they've gotten the authorization and they've placed the order for the product. So this is an area we are going to continue to try and improve and get better by being able to give our providers the right information at the right time, right? They want to know when it's going to arrive with great accuracy. And we recognize that sometimes things are coming from multiple places. So if you order the chair, but you ordered a cushion and a back from Rojo and from Comfort Company, they may potentially be coming from those individual production units in St. Louis and in Milwaukee. And we're really trying to get to a stage where we can coordinate those shipments and give just precise, accurate information to our providers.
Right, right. Yeah, that's very impressive. I think we all live in a world of technology, the Amazon-esque experience, right? The customer experience, the patient experience, and we want to know when our product's arriving and where it's at. It's 6 stops away, that kind of thing. And we've been conditioned, unfortunately, sometimes in that regard. And so that doesn't stop with, what we see in the CRT space, complex rehab. We're seeing more and more of this, and how technology is really starting to gain not just adherence, but it's a competitive advantage. It's a competitive advantage for a lot of our vendor partners that are out there. So it's really exciting stuff. Can you talk about power just real quick? You said that's coming. It's here now, but that's only going to expand in time, right?
Yeah, no,
On the
Power's in the store today. We introduced that back in October. We immediately saw an uptick in the number of quotes that were being configured in the store. The other thing that I love about the store too, Ted, is that it really opens the store 24/7, 365, right? There's nothing better than for an ATP to sit down to do some work and they can't get a hold of customer experience. So, but they can just log into the store and they can do their quote right there at their kitchen table or right there in the evaluation or on a Saturday afternoon if they need to. And we're seeing quotes and orders as well as orders converted to PO coming in on Saturdays and Sundays. So just a simple way to help meet our customers, where they are from a time and a access standpoint. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of activity around the clock and being able to support customers as best possible.
That's great. Well, we're truly excited for you guys. I know a lot of our members are talking about it. Like I said, that's important to them, right? Eval to delivery, shorten those time frames, having the knowledge and understanding where the product is in the system. Those are huge advantages for our members. So it goes without saying, but I know that a lot of our members are truly excited about it. And Cody, you talked about power, you talked about manual. What's really exciting about what you guys have done here recently is with PDG, right? Those are exciting products. Can you talk about PDG just a little bit and how that's going to be integrated into the store and what's the future there for PDG?
Yeah, sure. PDG is a long-standing tilt and space line that's been on the market for many, many years. Going back to, I think the early years of my career was when I first learned about PDG. So, but it's a tried and true brand that just delivers incredible quality and very resilient in the field. We were lucky to acquire PDG a couple of years ago, and we've been slow to integrate them while trying not to be disruptive to our customers. But our plan is to put PDG in the store and make it visible, just like I was showing you with that Tylite Z a few minutes ago. And it's the same experience that an ATP is going to be able to spec that product out, share the visual with the client and their caregivers so they have some exposure as to what it's going to look like. And yeah, our goal is to continue to round out the Permobil store and make it the one-stop location where you can quote, order parts. There's a lot of really terrific efficiencies that you can capture inside the Permobil store once you get plugged in and get going with it. So yeah, our goal is to continue to round it out, and PDG is one of our just most recent acquisitions that we're going to be putting into the store here very soon. Actually, the goal is to be live and running here in Q2, so that's coming up pretty soon.
Lot of great stuff to look forward to. I'm excited. I know our members are too. So, for the audience out there, questions from our members that, they want to know more about the configurator. They want to know more about the Permobil store. They want to get connected. How do our members get connected? I mean, obviously you have a tremendous sales team across North America. Would a phone call to the local sales Permobil person to learn more? And are there demos available? You have iPads they can show how the Permobil store works?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could get with your local Permobil representative to get you registered and enrolled in the store. You could literally just go to our website, permobil.com, and there's a little icon at the top that says Permobil Store. Specifically, there's a couple of different portal logins because we've had a few different configurators over the years, but there's one that says specifically Permobil Store. And if you click on that, it basically gives you an opportunity to link and register. And if you're already active in the Permobil, environment with our Power Platform and Quick Config and these other tools that we have for ATPs, that single sign-on should be there. So it's just a matter of registering and getting plugged in. So it's actually quite easy. And once you get set up, you're just navigating at your leisure. And some of the wonderful things that we love about it too, Ted, is that you have the ability to store templates and drafts. So let's say you have a template for a particular go-to configuration that's kind of your go-to. ATPs are creatures of habit, and it saves them from having to click all through every time because it's important, that we get the order right. So we want to make sure that you click all the options and accessories. But we also know that ATPs are creatures of habit. There's certain configurations that are kind of go-tos for them, and they can save that as a template in the store that's personal to them. And they can pull that down anytime they want and start from there. And it's basically almost 70 or 80% complete, and they just need to make the changes for that specific client. And what's terrific too is you can set up templates based on the payer, for example, or a particular facility that has preferences. There's a lot of little, tools that make life a lot easier and more expeditious for the ATP in the field.
That's great. That's exciting. Anytime you can save data and preferences, it makes life so much more easier for the ATP. So that's great. Well, Cody, this has been great. I appreciate you joining us today on Industry Matters for our U.S. rehab community. As I go back to kind of what we want to accomplish, and talk about, with our members is what drives efficiency, what drives savings, what drives, eval to delivery and cutting those time frames down. And that's what matters to a lot of people. And it should matter to just about everybody. And I agree with you. ATPs, we are getting a little bit aged out, right, Cody? But there's a lot of great ATPs that are coming in this industry, and they are just incredibly clinically appropriate. They're incredibly focused. But I will say they utilize technology much more and that's important. That's incredibly important for them. So this is exciting stuff. And congratulations, number one, and number two, keep up the great work. I'd love to hear more and see more. And I know that the adoption rate within the U.S. rehab community has only gone up, and we'd love for that to obviously continue. So this is great stuff. So Cody, I look forward to having you again, hopefully in the very near future.
That sounds great, Ted. I really appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. I can't wait to come to Heartland this year. I'm excited to be there for, I think this is the 25th anniversary. Do I have that right?
It is.
So, yeah,
Yep.
looking forward
Yep.
to it and really appreciate it again, Ted. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cody. We appreciate it.